What is up, everybody?
So we are working on spicing up the interior on the 240 today. Give you a little sneak peek of half the interior completed. That's right. We have finally gotten rid of the blue half brown interior carpet on the 240, making use of the Duplicolor vinyl and fabric with black and getting the carpet black, which make this look car 1,000 times better. I've also got a new trim piece retainer clip for the shift boot, got a new shift boot, got a new shift knob, and so I'll be showing you that as we progress through working on the interior, and hopefully we can get the interior looking pretty nice in the 240. So that's today's video, so let's get to it. While I've got some of the interior out on the 240, I'm going to be working on something that needs to be done on this, which is wiring in kind of a kill switch for the fuel pump. So when we wired up, got the car started, fuel pump relay not working, refusing to, I guess, speak to the ECU, I think is where the main problem was. And so I just kind of had to jump that relay, which means the fuel pump is on all the time when the key is on, so there are times when I want the key on and the fuel pump not to continue pumping. And so I'm going to be wiring in just kind of a kill switch. So we've made some pretty good progress. Got the wires coming through from the switch. It comes through all the way from our toggle switch all the way up there in the center console, and then we've run it down all the way through under the rear seat and back through here. Then we're going to splice it in somewhere into here, just the main power wire for the fuel pump. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and let's go. I'm about to wire these bad boys up. The factory harness, I'm pretty sure these are the wires that are supposed to be used. I don't have a factory horn button anyways inside the car, and this is just going to be easier to wire it up like this. And so that is what we're working on today. Gonna run some wiring up through my existing wiring harness that I've been building out. This is all me. I did this for the headlights. So we've got the pop-ups go up and down now, and then it goes into a harness there that includes the fan wiring and as well as the headlight wiring. So we've got both the horns are connected to each other. Got the wiring that goes in through there, and then it comes out of the harness there into this other loom that comes along here, and then I've kind of got a mess there. Probably will work on cleaning that up a little bit more, but then into the harness there, and then it goes through the fender up through, it comes out here, and then we're going to run that inside of the car. While I'm right here, I have my fans that always come on. They're always on with the key, which is kind of what I wanted. I don't have AC, so I just run it off the AC relay. And so that is the wiring for my fans. So that just comes on with a key, but I want a switch to be able to turn those off. And so while I'm right here and have the fender all undone, I think what I'm gonna do is run some wiring for my switch for the fans in there as well. So that's what I'm working on next. But now we need to work on the center console, and I'm gonna be building a control panel for the fans, the fuel pump, kill switch, and switch for the headlights. I have a horn button, and so those are all going in there. We're going to be using just some cheap ABS plastic that I got off of Amazon. Here we've got a bunch of switches. I think this is the horn switch in there. So the horn switch is a momentary switch, and the other switch will be latching because I want them to stay, clicked like you press the button. But for the horn switch, you can see it there. It just clicks like that. It doesn't stay in because I don't want the horn to stay on. I just want to tap it. So we're gonna get all that wired up. I've also got a new temperature gauge, and the other one was drilled out to the hole for the factory thermostat or temperature gauge, but it does not work currently. I went ahead and bought another inline temperature gauge, and we're going to be running it with this cool digital gauge that I got. This water temp, and we'll have a digital display for the temperature. So we got all that. We're going to get working together on that. I'm going to start mocking up the ABS plastic. Alright, so having wrapped up the wiring for the switches, I went ahead and did this before I started mocking up ABS plastic. All the switches are wired in how they are supposed to. I have main power for some of this. All these switches do not work unless the key is on, so essentially I have them wired into the ignition switch. I also made a little ground right there. This is my horn switch. I have a signal wire, which would be this yellow wire or a line wire, and then a power for the LED is that red one, and I just wired it into the line wire. And so when there's current, there's going to be the light's going to be on with this press, and so as you can see, that works. So pretty much all of the switches need a power and ground for the LED to work, and then they also need a signal wire or line wire going out to whatever it is powering. And if I put the power on the line wire at the same exact junction, then the switch will come on or only light up when the button is pressed. That's kind of cool how that's done. Okay, now with having this wired into the power and ground, go ahead and flip the key on, and that is how that's going to come on, and that's going to mount there. We're going to start mocking up the switch panel now. So I'm going to kind of tuck all this stuff back in there, clean it up the best I can, and then we're going to start on that switch panel. Alright, so we got our ABS plastic sheet here. That is going to be sliding in back there. But in order for that to work, you obviously got to trim it down. But 12 by 12 sheet is going to be more than enough for the S13 here. Alright, got the jigsaw here, nothing fancy. Set it to PVC speed, which should be about the same here. Alright, so it actually test fit really sick. This looks fantastic. I had to clearance one little section down here because on the S13 this comes in like this. Alright, so far so good. We've got our first switch and it mounts perfectly. The drill bit is actually the literal perfect size. It's able to screw in here, then you've got a locking ring on the back side, and then I'd plug that into the harness here. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. It looks pretty good actually, I like it. So we've got 3 more holes to drill. temperature gauge set up here, got the Teflon on the threads, and then I need to ground this white wire, and I have a place on the block that I can ground it. And then we have our line wire sent into the interior. I just got the blank plate fabbed up here. It actually was pretty simple. I thought this was gonna be very difficult. You're getting your look at the finished panel. Got to button some things up, vacuum in here because we got plastic everywhere. But this turned out very nicely, actually. What I did was first used a cardboard cutout that I just trimmed until it fit the hole there, and then I traced this out on the ABS plastic sheet and went and cut it out. I had to do a little bit of sanding, a little bit of trimming because it ended up being a teeny bit bigger than this after it's cut, but I left it just large enough to where it snaps in here pretty nicely. Seen a lot of videos of S13 guys, whether they're like drifting or something, and this panel pops out in the middle of a drift or something. This is in here pretty dang tight, so it really popped in there nicely. So I don't think it's gonna come out. If I need to, I can just run a strip of Velcro on the back of that, but I think it's gonna be good. We're gonna get the drill hold for my sensor and get the line run for the temperature sensor and swap out that sensor there. So that's what we're going to be doing next, and we'll get it going. To conclude our interior update on the 240 is a shift boot and shift knob. And so I got a new shift knob here, just a classic leather shift knob. It's hard to go wrong with a classic leather shift boot, so super excited about that. And then I found on Etsy, somebody 3D prints the ring here that holds the shift boot on. And this was way inexpensive. I think it was like $11 or $10 or something like that. And it fits perfectly, so super excited about that. We're gonna go ahead and get this shift boot on, get the trim back on, and show you guys the new shift knob, and wrap up this interior.